If you read the headline, you know that they got a pretty big boost going into the trade deadline. Week 10, I'll say this, they didn't play over the weekend, but they certainly won. The Pittsburgh Steelers 100% walked away winners for their bye week in week 9, and that comes on the verge of the Cincinnati Bengals claiming a victory and the Baltimore Ravens claiming a victory, and the Browns, well, going back to the Browns because they were fun for a week, and then, well, the Browns be the Browns. That being said, we'll ignore the AFC North and we'll head to where the trades could happen and how they have bettered the Pittsburgh Steelers' chances of making one happen. There is a 4-part play or team play result, whatever you want to word it, however you want to word it here, that have benefited the Pittsburgh Steelers. It starts with the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens, because coming into the weekend, Courtland Sutton was the name to watch. If the Steelers were going to make a big splash trade, it was going to be Courtland Sutton, and man, it made too much sense for it not to be Courtland Sutton. The Steelers should, and they could go get him. They were hunting for him. You could go on and on and on about the Courtland Sutton roller coaster that we have been on for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you go into week 9 and you're thinking they're winning football games. They're a playoff team right now. They're not a team that's going to be looking to sell everybody. They're a team that believes that they're a contender, that they could come in here. They have found their guy at quarterback. They got Bo Nix. The offense is clicking. The offensive line's working well. The defense is playing good. They could beat teams. The Steelers lost earlier in the season, fluke. They're early, young. They left week 9 realizing very quickly that, yeah, they might make the playoffs, but they ain't going to go far. They're not going to compete with teams like the Baltimore Ravens, who beat them 42-10, and a win over the Broncos would not have been enough. A simple 21-14 victory would not have been enough to end the conversation and build the conversation for a trade at wide receiver. 42-10 is a clear statement of, yeah, pal, next season, not this one. And that's exactly what the Steelers wanted to happen. They wanted the Baltimore Ravens to beat the brakes off the Denver Broncos and let them know that in a year from now, you could compete for a Super Bowl. But this season, you should be preparing for next season. And the best way to do that is to sell the number one piece that you could sell, and that is Courtland Sutton. I think that helped tremendously for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 2 is another team that for some reason thought they had life in this thing, that they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Daniel Jones was yelling for a couple seconds, and that was all they needed to see to say, we're good. We're going to win this. We're turning this around. Our season's just getting started. 2-win team. Well, there's still a 2-win team. The New York Giants losing to the Washington Commanders is a stamp, a nail in the coffin. It is over. The New York Giants are not going to make the playoffs. I don't care how bad the NFC is. And the NFC this year is better. Nope, not going to happen. And at this point, you've already done bad things, okay? If you are the Giants general manager, you are sitting there going, everybody in the world watched me get rid of Saquon Barkley and watched my thought process of getting rid of Saquon Barkley and how poorly that turned out. I obviously am in the hot seat, and I don't want to lose my job. So let's let ownership know we're preparing to turn this thing around. You want to know how you do that? You get your head out of your butt and you stop saying Darius Slayton's price tag is too high and we got to be blown away with an offer for a guy who's not going to be here in a year. And instead, you trade your number one asset, and that is your wide receiver. You get rid of Darius Slayton. Massive win for the Washington Commanders. Massive win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That price tag I expected to go down at the deadline. Now I really expect it to go down at the deadline. And even if it's a 4th, 5th round pick, I mean, that's not blown away. Nobody's blown away by that offer. So that's a realistic one, and I think certainly helped the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 3 is the Carolina Panthers winning a football game. Why? You think the trend is everybody's losing. It's opening up the door for more wide receiver trades. Not in Carolina. Not in Carolina. Because Carolina woke up this morning and realized they're tied with like 8 teams for the last place in the NFL. And all those alarms got to be going off going, whoa, Cowboy. Let's slow it down here, pal. We might not have a quarterback. Our entire team sucks. We don't need to be picking 4th. We need to be picking 1st. We need that first pick in the draft. The best way to do that is to just sell house. Hey, we're too good. Adam Thielen didn't even play, and we're winning football games. What happens if he comes back? We're just going to get better? No. Adam Thielen is gone. In my head, the Carolina Panthers win. Set them up to say, that was too much. We won 2 football games. That's a successful season. Let's cash it in. It's over. David Tepper's already calling down to the front office saying, hey, call my boys in Pittsburgh. Let's see if Adam Thielen wants to go play for the black and gold. I get it. He's banged up, and we'll dive into our top 5 options here. He's on that list. But I think a win for the Carolina Panthers is big, and you are just looking for draft picks. Adam Thielen is an easy one to go get. And then the final one, which was a banger of a game, and one that a lot of people would look at and say didn't turn out in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Me and you talked about this last week, about how the Steelers had to wait another week to see if this guy was going to be available because it would have been determined by the outcome of the game. Well, the outcome of the game didn't fall in line with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I think it opened the door for somebody else. The Los Angeles Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks in dramatic fashion. Puka Nacua gets kicked out in an electric afternoon of football where guys are just getting kicked out left and right. It was awesome. And probably shuts down the Cooper Kupp conversation for anybody involved. Cooper Kupp is most likely no longer available. The Rams are on a winning streak now. They're back to 500. They got to be feeling real good about their chances in the NFC West. I mean, it just makes sense. Cooper Kupp, no go. Matthew Stafford standing on the sideline, smiling with Sean McVay, sitting next to Cooper Kupp. Just feels like that one is over. The dream is dead. The Seahawks have lost 5 of their last 6 games. That season is done. They are over. They have a new head coach that is not working out. Geno Smith and that project, great, cool, awesome. But we've seen the ceiling. It's not very high. And I love Geno Smith, man. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm glad his career turned into something at the end here. But they're not winning a Super Bowl with the team that they have right now. So you might as well start preparing for next year. And I'm sorry, but wide receivers don't win you Super Bowls. They just don't. They might get the Pittsburgh Steelers to a Super Bowl. They might be the boost that gets them over the hump here. But they're not going to win it for you. And if that's where all your talent is, you're not doing it correctly. I'm saying the Seattle Seahawks have opened the door for DK Metcalf because they are now done. Season is over. They have a losing record. They are clearly falling apart week in and week out. Nothing could save them. And even the talented offense that they have is not good enough to be impressive because these wins are not coming to 40 to 42 losses. They are coming to 20 to 23 losses, which is not impressive. I think DK Metcalf is on the board for the Pittsburgh Steelers after week 9. And that's where we sit. The Steelers have opened some doors. Week 9, in my opinion, has turned out perfectly for them. And they go into Tuesday at 4 p.m. Adam Schefter is saying they're calling everybody. I think everybody's starting to answer the phone and have some conversations about who's really out there. Those are my guys. The Denver Broncos are definitely selling Courtland Sutton. The Giants, if they don't sell Darius Slayton, it wouldn't surprise me, but man, they should. The Carolina Panthers are in lose now mode. Get out of here. We don't want any talent. We're too talented right now. Adam Thielen, send him out of here. And shout out to Cooper Kupp for killing his dream and opening another one with DK Metcalf. Those are my 4. Week 9, big win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, you're spot on a lot of that. And it's crazy because the one thing we learned without a shadow of a doubt this weekend, because of a report from Adam Schefter, is the Steelers are very interested in a receiver like we didn't already know that. A lot of these reports and people saying, well, is that anything? Schefter said that the Steelers were close to the finish line for Christian Kirk, that he would be on the Steelers if he didn't injure himself in that final game where he broke his collarbone, I believe. So the Steelers are going after a wide receiver. That is without a shadow of a doubt. And now with everything and the way that this went this weekend, there's too many options to say the Steelers aren't going to come away with somebody before the 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow.